Welcome back, my friends, to another unsolicited and uneducated football analysis by your friend David Valentin. This time, we're going to be talking about the game that everybody's talking about right now. Happened last night. Concacaf League of Nations, the first installment where the United States crowns itself champion after defeating rival Mexico. My opinion about the whole thing. It was a battle. It was a type of football that is entertaining. You may say, hey, Europe has the best football in the world. The Americas has the most entertaining football in the world. Think of Europe as a very expensive and chic restaurant where you paid a ton of money for food that looks very pretty and tastes very good, but leaves you hungry. And CONCACAF being a buffet where you feast until you are about to puke. And that's why I like football here in the American continent. It's gritty, it's raw, it's emotional. This is the reason why sometimes people have a better time watching a rec league than the best football in the world. Why? Because these guys here really wanted to win, really wanted to show off, and it was amazing. That said, as far as the United States, this is the best generation of players the United States had. The kids born in the 1990s and the early 2000s are coming of age, and it's showing. This is a generation that was born with a country having a national league like MLS. This is a generation that has been born to a nation with a pyramid. Yes, we don't have promotion relegation, but at the same time, this is not the world that I was born in. I was born in 1976. Football was something that was not on TV. Football was something that people shared on VHS tapes, recorded over and over. This was the sport of the very rich because in my neighborhood, you could play any sport you wanted practically for free. But if you wanted to play soccer or football, that costs money. You had to travel. It was a specialty. It was a rarity. It's the sport that consumes me and is the only one that I never actually got to play myself, which is the greatest tragedy for us Gen Xers. Now, for the United States squad, the generations that usher us into the 1994 World Cup now has moved on. They have cleared the field for these new generations, for these new young guns, as I call it. Guys, super talented, so much so that the National League now it's beneath them, and that's a fantastic thing. And we should shoot in MLS to get to that level where this top talent will rather stay home than go somewhere else. I have to tell you, the reason why Europe is considered the destination is because the money is there. The competition level is there because the money is there. I just don't understand why the richest nation on earth has to play second fiddle, but that's going to play out in what I'm about to say. Mexico, again, prove that they are in a generational transition. Mexico has always been the big fish in CONCACAF. Before 1990, they were guaranteed everything because their competition was non-existent. The Caribbean islands have always traditionally depended on the diaspora for their football squads, and also football is not the number one sport there. Baseball, cricket, have been basketball, have been the sports that have uh, controlled the passions of the people in the islands. It's just recently that you have seen football get it's becoming very popular, especially in the U.S. territories, which is, to me, it's a sign that Korean football is in an upswing. Obviously, we have seen great success for Trinidad and for Jamaica making it all the way into World Cups. But the rest of the islands, the rest of the islands are not that far behind. As I tell you this, I'm a firm believer that Korean football in the next 10 years. It's going to be competitive. Central American football is becoming competitive in an incredible way because their squads primarily are doing so by sending their best players to MLS, so to the Euro snubs. I'm sorry to tell you, MLS still a path for success and one that we should not ignore. Finally, Mexico, they have to do a lot of soul searching. They cannot just go on bravado and empty nationalism. They have to, like everything in life, you have a nice run, and then all of a sudden the competition catches up with you, and now you have to push yourself to do better. Do I think that the era of the United States dominance has arrived? Absolutely not. Mexico still has a fantastic manager in Tata Martino, a man that came to MLS and completely dominated. And I just think that they just need to resolve who stays and who goes in their squad. Once they do that, they are going to be in the upswing. But definitely Mexico needs to get used to the fact that from now on, they are not penciling for every single championship and every single World Cup. And that's probably something that is going to be shocking to them, hard to accept, hard to stomach. But, you've been in this confederation, being the only good team for such a long time, that guess what? People are cranking up. We're not gonna take it from Twisted Sister on loop, and they're coming for you. When you're the top dog, everybody's gonna be aiming their guns at you. So about the game, I felt that the United States won on grit, talent. These guys really wanted to win for each other, not coaching so much. I think it's time to thank Greg for his services and move on. And some people might be like, oh, this is incredible. How could you say that, this and that? I feel that his appointment it was wrong, And I'm gonna say something that first of all, I'm a MLS dude. I love MLS. I support my club. That's the reason why this channel exists. But I feel that if we're gonna go the extra step, if we're gonna cross the Jordan into the promised land, we have to get a better manager. And last night I felt that we were out-coached. And once again, it's the talent of the players on the pitch and those coming from the bench that saved the day. You can tell that Mexico, pound per pound, they were very good. Better than the talent that the United States fielded? No. The United States fielded players that have been in the top leagues of Europe, doing big things, lifting a lot of silverware, and they are very young, which is what to me is hard currency in any sport, but especially football. If you are under 22 and you are making those type of moves at 22, you are going to be very, very good in 5 years, when at that time you are basically reaching your peak performance. But Mexico was drilled. They knew what to do. They knew how to counterattack. They knew the weaknesses of the United States, and they just hammer. Every transition from defense to attack, you can see there's a pattern. There's moves. Everybody's moving. I mean, you can see the pieces. A professional manager once told me you can tell a lot about a player on how they react to losing the ball and what they are doing without the ball. And you can see that Mexico exemplifies that. They lost the ball. They immediately went into a defensive mode to stop the counterattack, to get the ball back. Mexican players, they don't have the ball. They're putting themselves in space. They're making themselves available. They are becoming a pest for possible targets on the counterattack or in set pieces. They definitely dominated the game. Obviously, they conceded conceded a goal in spectacular fashion, but it was late in the game, and you can blame it, excuse me, on tired legs. Now, the United States, again, their coaching wasn't working, so players dig into their experience, into their football IQ. And some of you may ask themselves, well, how can this happen? Well, in the United States, we are always praising people that think outside of the box. I'm a Navy veteran. I can tell you, in military movies, we always see the one division, the one platoon getting caught off from the rest of the big force, and the general doesn't know what he's doing, and then there's a little staff sergeant that decides, hey, let's do it this way, and we praise those people. We have books written about heroes that in a time of turmoil, confusion, decide, well, I'm gonna take over, we're gonna do this. Americans love that. We even have a term for it. It's called American ingenuity, okay? American grit. So basically that's what happened last night. The players themselves understood there was a problem, and they executed the plan based on their experiences at club level, and it paid off. The two PKs that were given, I felt that that were earned. Absolutely. Mexico's, they were looking for that. They knew they were down. I'm sorry, that ball was purposely headed for a hand. United States fell for it. But again, great goalkeeping, which is a trait that is identifying the American football teams. And I think the best position that the United States is producing right now is a goalkeeper. For those that don't know, in the Israeli Premier League, Josh Cohen, an American, was chosen, and a goalkeeper was chosen as, excuse me, dry throat, was chosen as player of the season. And when we're looking at Americans succeeding overseas, goalkeepers tend to lead the pack. So that's something that we should be proud of, because we're finally producing something that the world wants to consume. But yeah, at the end of the day, I think that it was a great win. We had to fight against adversity. With that said, we just gotta look forward into the future of our national team. And I think that future is bright with the people that we have. But again, in my humble opinion, when it comes to the managerial issues, it's time to move away from the Greg Berhalters and the Jason Kreis of the world. Those guys had their time in history, but those guys represent an era in MLS that is long gone, that has been surpassed by the talent of our league today, that has been surpassed by football itself. Football it's ever changing, it's always expanding, it's organic, it reacts to outside forces, to the environment, to the new players, to new styles. Football is not meant to be rigid and straightforward. It's meant to be a lot of different things. And I think the United States is finally making football their own. They're putting their own flavors to the recipe. They are changing it for a positive. So with that said, thank you for watching the video. As an American, I'm super excited the fact that we had a fantastic win. And for the first time, Mexicans get to take a spoonful of their own medicine. They don't like it, they're mad, they're angry, and that's fantastic, because that shows that we finally have arrived. Thank you very much. Go USA.